Good times out, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. So today I will be talking about the Elder Scrolls for Oblivion. But first, a trailer look.
I was born 87 years ago. But for all these years, I've never been the ruler of my own dreams. This is the 27th of Last Seed, the year of Akatosh 433. These are the closing days of the Third Era, and the final hours of my life. I have seen the gates of Oblivion, beyond which no waking eye may see. This is only the beginning. Worse is yet to come. Looks clear.
The time of cleansing draws nigh.
Who now will save us from the coming darkness? Here you must find your own path.
Remember the Emperor!
Find him, and close shut the jaws of Oblivion.
And that was the announcement trailer. That the for the shadow drop. Yeah, they shadow dropped Oblivion. I think that the week of let me see here. The week of April 22nd, 2025 will live in video game history, where Bethesda Game Studios announced to the world that they are remaking the game that put them on the map with a big freaking star. Aside from the jank and the repetitive dialogue and everything, yeah, Oblivion Remaster is real. But man, it yeah, well. So, let me just say first and foremost that if you have not yet played the Oblivion Remaster, I 100% encourage you to go out and get it. Like, stop watching this podcast episode. Get your wallet, buy the game, because this game is just absolutely phenomenal. My God, from 2006 to 2025, my God, holy crap. Like, okay, so I have a lot of things to say. First, a bit of a backstory. The Elder Scrolls for Oblivion, the classic one anyway, was my very first RPG game that I have ever played. I never played Knights of the Old Republic. I never played Dragon Age Origins. I never played these other games before the Elder Scrolls for Oblivion. So before anyone goes, "Oh my God, why didn't you play these games?" So calm down, okay? Calm down. I read a Game Informer article about this game, and I believe it was like they had a whole dedicated section talking about Oblivion, and I was just simply blown away by the world of Cyrodiil. You can be who you want to be: the Argonian, Khajiit, Dark Elf, Wood Elf, High Elf, Orc, Imperial, Nord, Breton, Redguard. Go to the ancient alien ruins of a dead empire, to the realms of Oblivion, and joining guilds like the Fighters Guild and the Dark Brotherhood and the Arena, and just, oh my goodness. I desperately needed this game in my life because I never really read an entire Game Informer section before. A dedicated section to the game of the big game of that article, but I did. It wasn't until I think it was like around springtime or near. It was either during the spring or the fall. I don't know exactly which season it was, but I remember specifically going to Blockbuster, my local Blockbuster with my dad, with my late dad, and he told me that I can get 2 games because my grades were good. So naturally, I looked for Oblivion, and sure enough, it was there. It was right there, right in front of me. Not only that, but Fallout 3 was also right next to it. So I got Oblivion and Fallout 3 on the exact same day. I didn't even know it was made by the very same developers, too. I never had this concept of, okay, maybe it was just a different team. No, it was the same team that did Oblivion, that did Fallout 3. So you can pretty much picture my excitement when I went, wait, what? Oh my god, this is so cool. This is so awesome. And playing Oblivion, I mean, my god, like, wow, it's definitely an experience. You know, escaping, you know, hearing the dialogue from Sir Patrick Stewart, the Uriel Septim, you know, the iconic intro. Hold on, it's been, I was born 87 years ago. Hold on, let's see. Let's see. What is that quote? My god, it's been forever. Which is funny because I haven't heard this. Okay, here we go. I was born 87 years ago. For 65 years, I've ruled as Tamriel's emperor. But for all these years, I have never been the ruler of my own dreams. I've seen the gates of oblivion beyond which no waking eye may see. Behold, in darkness, a doom sweeps the land. This is the 27th of last sea, the year of Akatosh 433. These are the closing days of the third era and the final hours of my life. And then you hear the music playing in the background. You're just like, oh my god, here we go, boys. Here we go, people. Here we go. We're going on this epic quest to save the Empire from the Daedric horde of Oblivion. And then you get to the character customization, and you get to the character customization, you're just like, what are these potato-looking NPCs? Why does the Khajiit look like he's more stoned on skooma than anything? And aside from the leveling up, the jank dialogue, the jank NPCs, the repetitive voice acting, the quests, the world, the mythos, just the lore. I never really like invest myself in lore in games, but this game made me want to pick up every book. I think there was at a time there was an app where you can download where you can have all the books of in the Elder Scrolls games, and you can like read all of them. And I was just so invested in the world of Elder Scrolls. Like, oh my gosh, it made me fall in love with RPGs and the fantasy genre completely. Like, yeah, I watched Lord of the Rings, the trilogy, never read the books, but something about the Elder Scrolls just absolutely captivated me. And finishing the game, doing Knights in the Nine and Shivering Isles, it's just, oh my god, I was completely on board with the Elder Scrolls. Same thing with Fallout 3, exiting Vault 101 and seeing the Capital Wasteland, and in the distance the ruins of Washington D.C. in the Fallout world. I'm just like, oh my god, this is incredible. Like, the idea that you can just go anywhere you want to go, be who you want to be, is an escapism. I mean, how many of us played games like that during the pandemic or any sort of downtime where we're just like, man, I just want to be myself, and I want to be a murder hobo, a murder gremlin, a chaos gremlin, whatever you want to be in the Elder Scroll games, right? And then it wasn't until Skyrim where I touched the modding scene, and like, hell, like, I still have the Prima strategy book for the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. That is absolutely wild. It's still in good condition too, although the backside of the book is worn over time, just because of the wear and tear. But You know, as the years went by, you know, you more Oblivion and all these mods trying to make Oblivion the next the looking good, and then suddenly you hear something on something about Sky Oblivion and trying to make Oblivion in the Skyrim engine, which funny enough, it's coming out this year as well, you know, and that's by a mod team too. So when it happened, and everyone can remember this, everyone should remember this, because it wasn't lost on anybody. It wasn't lost on Bethesda. It wasn't lost on Microsoft. When Microsoft acquired ZeniMax, either the ZeniMax or Activision. Hold on, what was it? Versus Microsoft. Oh yeah, the Activision Blizzard deal. When they acquired Activision Blizzard for like what, $69 billion. Nice. They had a core document released, and one of the games was a remaster. And since then, the years went by, and people were like, maybe they've forgotten about it. You know, Starfield was not the hit that they expected. Elder Scrolls Online is doing great, but it's not a single-player game. Fallout 76 is doing great for what it's worth, but it's not a single-player Bethesda experience. The recent one is Starfield, and that, well, you saw how it turned out, right? So, when April came around this year, there were talks, there were discussions, there were rumors that they're gonna shadow drop this bitch in April of this month. And many people thought, like, nah, they will never shadow drop an Oblivion remaster? A shadow drop? That's the biggest slap in the face to themselves, no? But yet, funny enough, like Hi-Fi Rush, a completely different game from a different studio, which, by the way, fantastic game as well, it somehow still worked, and it just caught the whole world with its pants down, and it's just like, oh shit, it's real, like, holy crap, where's my wallet, you know? And I had to work that day too, so I was so gutted I couldn't really experience the announcement and everything. And well, it was also like 8 or 9 a.m. in the morning, and I was just so dead tired from the other night because you know, work and everything. So, but you know, I purchased it and played it, and let me just say, yeah, this is definitely a game that you know, if you have not yet played Oblivion yet and it's in your catalog, buy this game. Buy it. But aside from the nostalgia trip and the nostalgia glasses I'm wearing, this game does have some issues. Now let me preface this a bit, that not everyone is going to have the same problems as I have, as many others have. But we can all agree that the difficulty scaling is a little insane, and the performance optimization is everywhere. To preface this a bit, what do I mean by that? If you haven't watched the announcement trailer, and I highly recommend you should, because they explained it, but UE5 is basically the brain, right? And then the body is the engine that ran Oblivion all those years ago. So the UE5, the brain tells the body what to do. And so that's why we get the game that we gotten. But with that said, it's UE5. And I'm not a tech guy, but I understand that UE5 is not looked upon with great reverence. Resource hogging, it's crash happy, it's sensitive, it's a bunch of things. And I have to say, yeah, even there were like, obviously if you saw my social posts, that I had trouble running this game. And I thought it was just my OBS, but when I looked back at the footage, the game was running perfectly normal. I mean, yeah, there was stuttering, there were a few hitches here and there, but it ran perfectly fine for the most part, but it is still noticeable. And I had, and let me specify this. I have an AMD Ryzen 9 79X 12-core processor with a NVIDIA graphics RTX 470 Super. If it can run Baldur's Gate 3, if it can run a heavily modded Skyrim, if it can run Death Stranding, and all these beautiful looking games at 60 frames per second. Why can't this game run at 60 frames per second? The fact that there are mods already to address these fixes is both iconic and also hilarious at the same, iconic and hilarious, but also sad at the same time, because it's just so weird. Like, why? Like, oh my god, you know. And hell, there were talks, you know, if I remember correctly, I don't know if the next Elder Scroll game is gonna be a UE5 game, or I mean, we might look at the next Elder Scroll game right now. It's like, oh yeah, the next Elder Scroll game is gonna exactly look like this. And a part of me kind of wishes that it doesn't, because then we'll have these issues, because there are no modding tools for this. But yet somehow the modders are still finding a way, and big prompts to them. But at the same time, it's also scary to know that apparently patches are coming, which is great, but it's also scary to know that, yeah, patches are coming. And if you've seen if you've seen the way they handled the Fallout 76 patching and the Skyrim modding scene, you know, when they patch a game, they break the mods, you know, it's a little scary to know, okay, will this patch break more, or will it fix a lot of the issues? First and foremost, again, it's the performance and optimization that they have to address, because this game looks absolutely incredibly beautiful, but it's so heartbreaking to know that, yeah, you think you got 60 frames per second, but check your CPU, check your GPU, check anything, and I can guarantee you, your computer is probably suffocating under the fact that, oh my god, this game looks beautiful, but it's a little too much for me. And now, again, this just goes from person to person, but don't just say, oh, get a better PC. No, if it walks like the cracks, like, if there's a smoke, there's a fire, and there is a fire for a lot of people, you know. And it's so weird that people are like, oh, you have to post the specs when you're doing the review, and it's like, it kind of doesn't matter, because it kind of doesn't matter. This is kind of part why I say that I say that if you do reviews that's based on performance and stuff, maybe there should be an option to, like, oh yeah, you can look up your specs, and but you like little like tab options and stuff in the Steam review, something Valve should look into. Besides having a mixed option review, mixed option score. You know, either it's not a thumbs up or thumbs down, it's more like in the middle, you know. But besides the performance and optimization, the second biggest issue is the difficulty scaling. I didn't know how bad it was until apparently I saw a Game Informer not Game Informer, until I saw a PC Gamer article talking about how Kvatch is completely broken if you don't do this early, and I'm like, okay, that's a little concerning. I mean, we're already having scaling issues. I mean, the past streams has been very brutal, because it's like, okay, some enemies feel like they're leveled properly, but then there's some times where the enemies they don't feel like they're leveled properly, and I have to figure out, okay, is it this mod I'm running? Is it that mod I'm running? What mods I'm running here? And if I remove them, does it address the issue? Does it fix the issue, or does it make the enemies go back to default difficulty? So what do I mean by this? Right now, from what everyone can tell, is the difficulty scaling. The scaling itself is a little busted. If you play on depth, it feels like apprentice, but also kind of feels novice. If you play expert, you still have a challenge, but it doesn't feel expert enough. And then master, the enemies are clearly bullet sponges. You don't have a gun. You're not Ethan Winters. You know, you're not playing a third-person shooter or whatever. But they feel like bullet sponges. And apparently, I don't know if it's just the mods, but the magic is broken in the game. And it seems like the strategy for winning is hitting them from afar, and then when they get down to low health, take them out as quickly as possible before you go down. But yeah, it's just so weird that the scaling is, you know, because let me say this, is that in the OG, in classic Oblivion, they have a thing called the difficulty slider. If it's in the center at the start of the game, which is normal mode, but if you move it a little too high, it's basically one hit and you're dead. If you move it to the left, it's novice mode, easy mode, murder hobo mode, however you want to call it. here they remove that in favor of a Skyrim system where you can select the difficulty and you can level up like Skyrim, kind of, sort of, maybe. And it makes gaining skills a whole lot easier, but apparently acrobatic is a skill that you can get very, you can level up very, as I stumble my words, but basically very quickly. So I don't know if that's an issue with the scaling itself or whatever, but you know, it's a little wild. It's a little wild at the moment. And going back to the Kvatch thing too, because apparently if you don't mod this at all, and you just play however you want to play, apparently the creatures in the Kvatch castle all turn into Daedroth, Daedroth, basically, the lizard man, the lizard from Spider-Man, and they come and wreck your shit. Apparently, somebody posted like an image of 6 of them. I think it was like on adapt difficulty. Hold on, is it? Let's see, level 5 or level 6, 19 hours in. Yeah, apparently level 5 or level 6. After joining the Mages Guild, blah, blah, blah. Oh no, that was 9 years ago. Okay, where is that article? Okay, so net master has sparked. Okay, he did the bait. If not higher. So, and I know some people are gonna say, well, you're not fighting summons, you're not fighting random creatures in the forest, you're fighting the Daedric Horde of Oblivion. Of course they're gonna be harder. But apparently, there was an image of, did they not? Maybe I saw it on. Maybe I saw it on. Okay, so there we go. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, then did the siege, can summon. Must have 30 aims in the courtyard, which was simultaneous shooting pants, terrifying and awesome. So apparently somebody has got to at least level 31, and there was like a shit ton of Daedroth in the courtyard of Kvatch Castle. So again, like it's so batshit insane that this wasn't in Bethesda fashion. Here we go. So this one is from Sweethold 5332 on Reddit. But apparently, the person said, I did it at level 15 and it was fucking miserable. There are at least 8 Daedroths, 2 Flame Atronachs, a few scamps, and a mountain of clan fears hidden under the Daedroths in this picture. I drank at least 20-30 health potions during this. Every piece of equipment armor broke, as well as most of the spares. All my enchanted weapons ran out of charge. The Imperial Guards were useless. This took 15 minutes from all the pausing and inventory checking I had to do. And from what I've told, from what I've seen here, basically everyone's been saying the same thing. And apparently it was not a great experience for a lot of people. It's basically like getting dry humped and not in a good way. So, I can't personally tell you what level you should do with Kvatch on, but this is a problem. If by level 10, you can't even Doomslayer. You can't even go all in Doomslayer on Kvatch by level 10 or however you level up your character. Basically, if you're not a god, if you did everything right, you go into Kvatch and you're just like, yeah, I'm Doomslayer, I'm the Doom guy, I'm god mode. This game apparently checks you really quick in the most hilarious and brutal fashion. Now, again, some people are gonna say, well, that's not a problem, that's not a problem, that's not a problem. You know, you just gotta level up differently and blah, blah, blah. The main quest should always be done last. The heated debate, right? But apparently, again, there's a shit ton of Daedroth in Kvatch Castle at level 10. and people think that's okay. I don't think that's okay. I don't think that's how it's supposed to work, apparently. So I really, really do hope the scaling does get fixed, because it is not a fun experience when you are trying to have fun with the game and you can't even, like, go into these areas, because then you're soft locking yourself. You're like, okay, well, I have to do this quest and that quest and that quest. You have to do everything else but the quests you want to do, and you go to do these quests and they don't feel rewarding. Like, there should be some sort of balance with the cheese, right? Well, not with the cheese. There just needs to be some sort of balance with the combat here, because in classic Oblivion, I ran it. I slowly pushed the dial to the center. And as I got, you know, higher and higher in the difficulty, it became more rewarding for me. It should be something like that in Oblivion, or I guess in the Oblivion Remaster. I guess in this case, since there's no slider, I mean, if Adept is supposed to be normal, I guess, then make it normal. If Expert is supposed to be hard, I guess, then make it hard. If Master is supposed to be Nightmare, make it Nightmare. Don't do this whole novice, apprentice, adept, apprentice, or however the scaling works. Expert, adept, master, bullet sponge difficulty. It just doesn't make any sense. But besides the performance and optimization and the combat the difficulty scaling, again, this game is an absolute recommend. I do say though, I recommend it on Game Pass, since it's on Game Pass, so that way you don't have to shell out the $50 price tag and then discover, oh wait, these issues are real for me, and I don't know if I can hang with this game, because I don't want to cheese my way through the game. I want to be rewarded with all the things I do on the difficulties that I want to play. And again, that's a valid reason. You don't want to play Baldur's Gate 3 in a way where it's like it doesn't feel rewarding, or you don't want to play, you know, Elden Ring or any type of game in a way where it doesn't feel rewarding to you, and you're just like, but if I do it like yeah, it got me through, but I wish it was a little bit more. I could have done something different, maybe on the vanilla run, or whatever mentality process you're thinking of, right? But yeah, that is it. That is the review for the Oblivion Remaster. I said this yesterday on stream that I was gonna come up here and talk about my thoughts on it. Again, this is my childhood game. This game made me fall in love with RPGs and the fantasy genre. If Fallout 3 is next, I cannot wait to see. I hope the difficulty scaling in Fallout 3 I hope when we get to the Fallout 3 remaster, we won't have this problem of the difficulty scaling. The performance and optimization, that's one thing. It's UE5. It's, yeah. But if we can't even get through the raider encampment at the, what was it, the Springvale School, if we can't even get through that on Abdead, and we keep getting headshotted by the .32 pistol, we're gonna have problems, Virtuous and Bethesda. We're gonna have problems here, you know. So tomorrow will be the Doom 2016 Doom Eternal review. If you enjoyed this podcast episode of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remaster, then leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is for my YouTube audience members. And if you're listening on Spotify, please share this podcast episode and this podcast episode with your friends, family, associates, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye-bye.